We're back here at the Cowboy Way Jubilee in Ardmore, Oklahoma.
Yes.
And look who we stumbled onto.
You stumbled on me. You
Well,
just ran smack dab into me.
Well, you were standing in the way. Yeah, you were.
Well, I
you were
have a
right
habit
there.
of doing
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
But Bob Terry, and Bob, you do all kind of things,
I do.
and most of them well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Well, I've heard that before too. But tell us a little bit about what you're doing here at the Cowboy Way Jubilee.
We've been a part of this. This is the third one, and we've been a part of this from the beginning.
You mean they ask you back?
You know, but they keep decreasing with my involvement.
Ah.
Which is perfectly understandable. No, the first 2 years I was the MC. I was the master of ceremonies of all the music and things on the stage. And then it was just difficult for us to get up here for those 3 days. I mean, it was a big deal. So this year, my buddy Festus is master of ceremonies, and we're just performing this year.
And your home base. Tell us, because you don't just live right around Ardmore here. Tell us where your home base is.
No, we're a little west of Fort Worth, and we're about an hour and a half or so from here. And we just came up to play music Saturday, which is yesterday, and we had a great time. We had a great show. It was fun. Man, we had Curtis Krigbaum played with us, and then Chuck Dawson and my buddy Johnny Davis playing the washboard and stuff. It's me and my wife playing. We did some good cowboy music, and everybody loved it.
Well, you do so much stuff. And speaking of that, I have a little DVD collection right here in my hand called the Forsaken Westerns.
Yes.
Now, tell me something about the Forsaken Westerns.
I've been collecting films, primarily Western films, for about 30 years. And over the years, I've found some rare stuff. I bought lots of things in obscure places, old junk shops and all kinds of stuff. I've got 16mm stuff. I've got old VHSs and, of course, stuff on DVDs. I've had friends of mine that's been collecting a long time give me really rare stuff. Well, for years, you know, I've been involved in Western film preservation kind of, and in the Western film business in a way. And so I always wondered what it would be like if you owned a series like, let's say, The Rifleman. You know, what would you do with it? How would you market it? Would you make more endorsement items? What would you do? And one day I realized that I owned a lot of rare pilots, TV show pilots for Westerns that had never launched. They were never on TV. They were never on television. The only people that ever saw them were executives, let's say at like Kraft Corporation, because they were looking for a sponsor. So they'd send copies to these different companies that they were interested in sponsoring it. And there's a lot of reasons that many of these pilots never made it. One reason is going from black and white to color. Mm-hmm. Going from half-hour formats to hour formats. Sometimes they would, the scripts weren't great, or sometimes there might be just a little thing in there that the sponsors might say, no, they didn't use some discretion there, and we don't want to sponsor this. Or even like with Randolph Scott. Randolph Scott made a TV pilot.
Randy Scott.
One
of my favorites.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. Good guy. You know, a lot of stuff going about around about Randy Scott that is incorrect.
Yes.
But Randy Scott was a really good guy and a great actor.
And a good horseman.
I love Stardust. Beautiful, beautiful horse.
Yep.
Anyway, around 1956, Randy Scott and Harry Joe Brown made a TV pilot because that's kind of where the industry was going, okay? And it was called Randolph Scott, Theater of the West. And Randy Scott was going to be the host of it, okay? And he just opens it up, telling about the town, I think, of Lost Eagle, And the stars are Scott Brady and Paul Kelly. Now, no one knows exactly when this was made, but Mimi Gibson's in it. She's very little. Paul Kelly's in it. And that from the time Mimi started and then Paul passed away, it has to be somewhere like late 56, early 57, something like that. Well, I've read a couple of different reasons. It's a great pilot. I've read a couple of different reasons it didn't make it. One thing is, I think Randolph Scott may have only been interested in Kraft sponsoring. And I was told that when Kraft turned it down, they didn't want it, that Randolph Scott walked away from it. Another thing is, this was right before he made 7 Men from Now,
which launched his career.
You know, he had done well and did great stuff before then, but his career was on a slump. But when he did 7 Men from Now, it skyrocketed him back up.
Which is something I would recommend everybody to see that movie.
Excellent movie.
Written by Burt Kennedy, directed by Bud Badaker, produced by John Wayne's company.
Oh, yeah. John Wayne had the rights for it, you know.
Yeah,
yes.
You cannot beat it. I mean, it is a great little movie.
Yes, it is. And
shot at Lone Pine.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I personally think that Randy Scott his career was slumping a bit, and he's looking to do something. And so him and Harry Joe Brown said, let's try a TV pilot, like everybody else was.
Yeah.
And a lot of the big stars from the movies, the Westerns,
right,
couldn't make that TV transition.
Right.
They tried.
They weren't a William Boyd.
Right, Bill Boyd.
Yeah.
You know, he knew what he was doing.
Oh, he was sharp.
Yeah, he was sharp business-wise and everything else. He was a sharp fellow. But I personally think that Randy Scott's career took off again in movies, and so they shelved the TV project.
All the way to Ride the High Country.
He had retired by then,
yeah,
but they talked him into coming back, you know. And I've talked to Wyatt about this, you know, Wyatt McCrae, you know, and they talk about, he talks about how his grandfather and Randy Scott's parts were reversed.
Oh, yeah.
And they both didn't want to do the project.
Yeah.
And they talked about
it. They
both
thought about that after they read the script. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so they
Which
flipped
was perfect.
Them. Yes, it was. It was perfect, the way they flipped them. It was really great.
And Sam Peckinpah's, second film? Something like that.
Something like that. But so Randy Scott did this pilot, and I had a copy of it.
Right.
Very rare. Very rare. Now, I actually...
Is that on this DVD?
That is. That's
Excellent.
episode 8, I think. I think Randy Scott's on this one. Yeah. Yeah, he's episode 8, I believe.
Great.
And it's called Randolph Scott Theater of the West, Officer's Choice is the title of the episode. To my knowledge, that's the only episode they made. Now, sometimes pilots would make 2 or 3 episodes because if they got picked up, they wanted to be ahead.
Yeah.
And that's the case with Luke and the Tenderfoot, which I think both those episodes are on there.
Excellent.
But the first episode we start out with is actually from 1951 and in color. Now, a lot of people might not realize this, but color in 1951 for television, unheard of. You know, just about. You know, Cisco Kid was color. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. But I never knew Cisco Kid was in color when I was a kid because all we had was a black and white TV.
Right.
But that's what this is. It's obscure TV show pilots and anthology series episodes that might be a Western episode that haven't aired in 65 years or so.
Yeah, well, that's great.
We make sure we have all the rights for these, too. We're not violating copyright.
I am so happy that you have found these and put them on a DVD. And we're going to do a little bit of a transition here. We're going to have James Hoffpauir come back and talk to you a little bit about it and how people can find these Forsaken Westerns. But right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to have some more good stuff.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
The sun is setting in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in its nest. It's time for a cowboy to purple light in the pinyon, that's where I long to be. my three good companions, just my rifle, my pony, and me. Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody, riding to Amarillo. Just my rifle, my pony, and me. Gonna hang my sombrero to the limbs of a tree, coming home, sweetheart darling. Just my rifle, my pony, and me. No more cows to be roping, no more strays will I see. Round the bend, she'll be waiting for my rifle, my pony, and me. For my rifle, my pony, and me.
Okay, we're back here, and I'm with Don Decker. And Don, tell us, what are you doing here at the Cowboy Way Jubilee in Ardmore, Oklahoma?
Well, I'll tell you, first thing is, I don't know why I'm here, but I sure have enjoyed it.
Well, we've enjoyed having you here.
Well, thank you. And next, I sell Arbuckle coffee, and I have my chuck wagon where these kind of people gather. So a lot of it is just visiting people that are nearly as old as I am. That's why I came.
Well, the turnout's been really good today.
Very good. Ardmore is a great Oklahoma town. It's got a lot of history way back in the late 50s and early 60s. Now that's telling the story. I sold a lot of really good quarter horses in Ardmore, Oklahoma. So I love the place.
Well, they just had a quarter horse sale here Saturday.
Right down the road, and they brought a lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah, quarter horse sale at the Hardy Coliseum.
Now, where are you from originally? This area?
No, I'm a Northern Okie.
Northern Okie.
So I'm from Pawhuska and Fairfax, Oklahoma. And in Fairfax, I had my boot company. I had the Blucher Boot Company that was founded by Gus Blucher in 1896 in Cheyenne.
Wow.
I wasn't here in 96, so I had to wait a long time to buy the doggone place. But when I did, I moved it to Oklahoma. And we made the best boots for lots of people, Blucher boots, in 1993. I made a pair of boots for every governor of the United States of America.
Wow.
Right here, and we had the Governor's Convention in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 93. And I got to write the speech for the governor and almost got him run out of town.
Well, we won't ask you to recite that. So.
Probably best not to.
But what about the boot company? Is it still around?
No, I bought it 3 times because of its history, and it was known all over the West.
Well, I remember the name, yeah.
And Blucher boots were the finest working boots, you know, but high craftsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just hard to keep that kind of company going for different times. It's not around any longer.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something about a gentleman I knew very well, that you were from the same area he
Yes,
was.
sir.
Tell us about him.
Well, I'll tell you a quickie. So Ben Johnson lived 20 miles from me, and I had the Little Chief Ranch in Fairfax, almost to Pawhuska. So I'd keep buying land and go broke, you know what I mean? I was land rich and didn't have a dollar, so I said, Ben, when you going back to Hollywood? He said, next Tuesday. I said, I tell you what, I need your help bad now, Ben. I need you to find me somebody in Hollywood that had a lot of money and loved cows. He looks at me, never did say much, you know.
Yeah.
He said, well, Don, I'll try to do that for you. I know some people. I didn't hear from Ben Johnson for a year. I thought, well, I run him off or something, or said something I should have, which I'm very capable of. But here he comes a year later driving up my driveway, and there's two guys in his old pickup truck, both leaning out the door, looking at cows over there and there.
Yeah.
And so I know there's two of them because you can't stick both arms out of a pickup truck when you're going down the road if you're driving it.
Yep.
So here they drive up to the porch. They stepped out. It was John Wayne and Ben Johnson. I said, by golly, I think I recognize, and this is going to be a good deal. I'll give you the ending. Ben Johnson owned 30% of my cow herd. John Wayne owned 30% of my cow herd, and I had 40% left. So we had to punch a lot of cows to make it, and we really had some good years. We had domino bred Herefords, as big as they get. But I'll tell you the sad part. In my last sale, where the Duke bought, he bought 12 heifers, 2 older cows, and 3 bulls. Well, the next morning, he said, you're going to have to take them to Arizona this time. I said, okay. He said, I got a ranch over there called the M&M.
Yep.
So I said, I'll get our guys. We'll haul them over there. So we went there right near Casa Grande. So the next day, the reason I had such a great cow herd was a man named Lewis Johnson. So the next day I said to my guys, where is Lewis? They said, Don, we hate to tell you, but John Wayne stole Lewis Johnson, and he's gone to Arizona, and he's going to help John run his cow ranch over there. Well, I said, ain't that a damn thing? They didn't even ask me. He said, well, they were afraid to because you're mean. So that was the end of that. And Lewis and I became friends again. It took a while. But those two guys built the largest feedlot in Arizona feeding out yearlings.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story about that.
Yes, sir.
I worked on an HBO movie called Temple Grandin.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that I had was we were at the John Wayne feedlot, but we were down in Swartner, Texas.
Okay.
So they put up fake cactus everywhere.
I made it look like Arizona.
And we shot that, and that was a great experience. And it's a good little movie.
I'd love to see it. I did not see that one.
Yeah, it's on DVD.
Yeah.
Because I don't have HBO, but,
right.
It was a good little movie.
Well, that's good. You know, John did a lot in the Hereford business.
Yes, I know.
People don't realize it. But, you know, I told him, I'm kind of straight talking sometimes. I said, Dookie, let me tell you something. You wouldn't known shit about cows if it wasn't for my man, Mr. Johnson.
Lewis Johnson.
Lewis, you know that. Lewis.
Yep.
So we had fun.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Arbuckle's coffee. Because, you know, there was Winchester, there was Colt, and there was Arbuckle.
Arbuckle, that was it. The Arbuckle brothers were from New York, and they started the coffee business just 2 years prior to the Civil War, about 1860, 59, right in there. Well, they really were going. They were marketing people, and this was Brazilian coffee, which has no acid in it, so it was kind of a healthy thing. But soon became the coffee that won the West, because they had a sales program that took it clear to California from New York. Well, the Civil War came and shut them down. After the Civil War, they sent the best salesman you could find to Arizona, where they established a place, Cheyenne, Wyoming, where they established a place. My thing, I love chuck wagons. And it's on every chuck wagon since Charles Goodnight, driving the first herd of cattle north.
Yep.
So it's got a lot of history, you know.
And you got your chuck wagon right here.
I got me a 1914 John Deere right there, but
out there.
I've got other ones.
Very, very impressive.
But here's what I want to tell you before I forget, if I could.
Okay.
I wrote this about 15 years ago, and I'll try to get it right. And this is why we're all here. You asked me that first. The cowboys, cowgirls, ranchers, and Indians set a mark on America in the days of the building of the West. And that mark holds throughout the world, even to this day, and will continue.
No kidding. And we want to thank you for helping keep the Old West alive.
I just love it. It's you know the story. Some people say I was born 100 years too late. I said, horseshit, in my case, it's nearly 180 years too late now.
Yeah, but hey, we're still kicking. So
We're still kicking.
Yeah.
And we're enjoying people like you and I. We love this stuff. It's just a long story we love.
yeah. Well, it's been a real pleasure, Don,
Thank
having you
you.
on the air.
Thank you, brother.
And we'll be right back
We'll be
after
right
this.
back, yeah. I'd like to introduce you to Arbuckle Ariosa Coffee, the oldest coffee company in America, and probably the best Brazilian Ariosa high-grown coffee in the world. Well, the coffee got famous, and it's called the coffee that won the West because the Arbuckle brothers, after the Civil War, scattered it from New York to California. It's been on every chuck wagon. It's been on almost every ranch. It has lovely taste and a high-quality coffee. We'd like you to give it a try. And you can call old Don Decker, the Arbuckle Coffee Cowboy, at 405-808-0022. And thank you so much, and sure nice to talk to you today.
All right, welcome back to the Cowboy Jubilee. We are here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, with an old, but I don't want to use the word old, with a good friend of mine, Francine Robertson. How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
It seems like I haven't seen you in a year.
I think it has been a year.
Yeah. Wow. So have you been writing any new poems lately?
I have written a couple of new ones, but
Yeah.
I don't have them memorized, so I can't tell you what they
memorized?
are. No.
Well, we're gonna have to talk you into doing one of the older ones today.
I can do that.
Yeah. You so what have you been? Did you go to Fort Worth this year?
I didn't go to Fort Worth this year. Didn't get my application in on time,
Oh,
so I'll try next year.
we were asked to go to Fort Worth this year, but the crew was busy. Nobody could get there. My host, I think he was barred from there because he voted the wrong way. And I'm kidding. But anyway, we're good to see you again. I was so surprised when you just popped up out of nowhere, you know. And so you've been here since the beginning? You've been here?
I've been here since the beginning, 3 days.
And did you get up and recite some poetry?
I did. Yesterday I was up twice.
Yeah. And so did you do a nice little poem for him?
I did a couple of nice little poems for him, actually.
Well, you want to do them for us?
I'll do one.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to step out of the picture and just let him focus on you. You do the poem, and wave it back when you're ready. And so, okay. All right. Here's Francine.
At the top of every mountain and beside every gurgling stream, I see wild horses running free there, though I know it's just a dream. These painted ponies fill my thoughts with flowing manes that whip the wind. A ghost horse image thunders past that seems to be from memory kenned. And side by side as one we race them, unbound by earth's restraining hand. With youth and joy and wild abandon, the future seems at our command. Then daylight brings a call familiar, and broomtail colts soon fade from sight. Though freedom's full release is tempting, there's no regret in doing right. Seasons pass, and you're still with me, and every day's a gift, you see. So we will sit and dream together of more wild horses running free.
All right. Okay. I'm back. All right. Very nice. So, I've asked you this before, but just for the folks that have never seen you or don't know you, where's your inspiration for your writing come from?
Most of them are true stories based on my childhood and growing up in Oklahoma and living on a farm and having my horse and my dog and my 12 cats at the barn, probably.
So you're a real cowgirl then?
I really am.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that, pal. I'll tell you what, it's good because I have known a lot of young people that just love horses, and you see them, and they turn out to be such good people.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, and as my friend Don Reynolds, who we all miss, used to say, the best thing for a kid is the outside of a horse.
Yeah.
Best thing for a kid's inside is the outside of a horse.
Yeah.
That's the way it's said. And I really believe that's true. You know, because I know in my life, no matter what kind of day I'm having, whatever's going on, I go home. When I go home, I go over to the ranch, spend some time with my horse. All those problems go away. Because all you're thinking about is that horse, you know. And a horse gives you love like you can't get nowhere else, you know. And so I love my horse is a nudger. She likes to nudge.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't have a horse anymore, but I've got a dog, and she loves me a lot, too.
Well, that's good, though.
She's-
Wonderful.
She's waiting for me to come home today.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I want to thank you for just taking a few minutes out of your day. I know you were getting ready to go home, and we grabbed you as you were leaving. But anyway, I want to thank you so much, my friend, for coming on and
Well, it's my pleasure.
doing a little bit of poems for us and spending a little time with us. And we will see you next year.
Okay.
And we're down the trail.
All right.
All right. All right. Welcome to the Cowboy Way. We are in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and for the second year in a row, I've gotten a great opportunity to sit here with one of my favorite actors in the world, Mr. Gabby Hayes.
Yes, sir, Bob. I'm pleased as punch to be here, by golly.
Please, as punch.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I'll tell you what. I just for the record, everybody's going to go, my God, he looks so good. But how old are you now? 100 and what?
Tomorrow, May 6th, will be my 134th birthday, and I'm holding up just finer than frogs there, by golly.
Yeah, just fine and dandy, right? All right.
Darn tootin'.
Oh, boy, you're doing good. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, how old would old Alan be?
Oh, Alan, he's only about 72. He's just a young pup.
Just a young whippersnapper.
Yeah,
isn't
young
he?
whippersnapper.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Did Gabby use that line in just about every movie he made? About the
young whippersnapper?
Yeah.
Yes, sirree. As a matter of fact, Randolph Scott used it on him a few times.
Oh, my
And
God.
Wild Bill Elliott used it on him a few times, and he'd give you one of these, like.
Yeah. Wow. So were they just like ad-libbing the line
Yeah.
out? They were just throwing it out just to get him, right?
just to get his attention, and
Oh.
he knew what to do.
Yeah. Wow. He was such a good actor. But
yeah.
I understand, though, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I understood that he was like, did Shakespeare and stuff in New York
Yeah, he
on
was.
stage.
He was on Broadway. He did Shakespeare. He was a valuable.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, not easy for you.
He was a song and dance man.
Yeah. Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know about that.
Matter of fact, in Roy's movie Song of Arizona, he did a tap dance with a little boy. They were
I have
doing.
to look that up.
They were doing a Halloween thing, and he had a coonskin cap and double guns, and him and the little boy did a tap dance.
Wow.
In one of his movies, he played a harmonica.
Could
so-
he really play? Oh,
Yeah, I think he could do most anything. I know Roy could play harmonica, and
I
I think
didn't know
Gabby
that.
could. Yeah.
well, talking about Roy, now, his daughter Cheryl once told me that
Mhm.
actually with the Sons of the Pioneers, Roy was almost a comic at one time.
Well, that could have been when they first started.
When they
before
first
got-
started, yeah, when they first got, he would do all the comedy. But
See-
then as things grew, he became the singer of the group.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. See, he got replaced by Pat Brady,
Yeah.
and then they found out what Pat could do. So then after that, him and Shrug Fisher were the comedians for the group,
Yeah.
and nobody else was even close to them. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Roy liked to do comedy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, Dale always said he was one of the funniest people that she ever met.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you, I was a big Roy Rogers fan, and
Me
I
too.
loved all them shows, and cause I not only did I like Gabby, but I really appreciated Pat when he was in Nellyville.
Right.
Yeah, I really appreciated them. They were fun.
Well, Pat and Gabby worked well together. And
Did
stuff.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They worked off each other really well. You know, at one time, Gabby had a car called Leapin' Liza, 1926 Model T. Well, in one of the movies, him and Pat were fighting over who was going to drive it, and they wrecked it. So they never had Leapin' Liza no more. No sirree, Bob.
Oh, he was such a great add to those movies, and his character. But now, wasn't he with, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he do a couple of Hopalong Cassidy movies?
He did 26 of them.
But that's more than a couple.
Yeah, see, he started out when the first Hoppy movie, he was Uncle Ben.
Okay.
But he gets killed. Well, then the next one, he was a bartender with a big mustache. And a little bit later, they developed this character named Windy.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then for the rest of the time, he was Windy. But see, when he left the Hoppy series and went to Republic with Roy and them, he wanted to be called Windy. And the producers said that isn't going to happen because that's a name that we have rights to.
Right.
So that's where they come up with Gabby.
Yeah. Well, it worked.
You're
worked.
darn tootin', just finer
worked.
than frogs.
Yeah.
Just slicker than a brook trout.
I love it. I love it. Now, he did. I heard the story that Gabby was there the day Dale Evans came to work on the show, and she didn't know how to ride a horse. And he said they put her on a horse, and she started riding. And he said, "I never saw so much daylight in the saddle in my life." You know, not sure if that's exact words, but
well, it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
It's cleaned up.
I cleaned it up.
Yeah,
well, yeah, we have a family audience out there, and but anyway, daylight. Yeah.
You're darn tootin'.
Yeah.
Lots of daylight.
But anyway, you know, that whole family, I call them a family because I heard Roy refer to Gabby like his dad. Like,
his dad, his brother,
Yeah.
and his uncle all rolled into one.
Yeah.
And Dale said Gabby taught her more about acting and camera angles than any director she ever had.
Really?
Or any acting.
Well, he knew.
Yeah, he knew it all.
He knew. He actually.
Well, he had 25 years on the stage before he came to Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was a wonderful actor and did some wonderful things on screen. And is there a movie that we would be surprised to find him in that you would know of? That
Well,
not one of the Roy Rogers.
No, there was a serial that he did called The Lost Jungle. And he starts out as a really, really bad guy.
Yeah.
Just meaner than the Dickens. But about halfway through the show, the hero saves him and converts him into the superhero good guy.
Yeah.
And he had no beard or mustache or nothing, but if you knew his voice, you knew it was him.
Oh, yeah.
I had never seen Gabby be so mean in my whole life.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's just the mark of a great actor.
You're darn tootin'. He could do anything.
Yeah, he was wonderful. And so what's next for you? Where you headed?
Well, right now I'm heading towards home back in Nebraska, and then I'm going to take a vacation up in Alaska.
Very good.
Then later on, there's some stuff to do in Ohio for Roy Rogers Festival.
I met the folks from there yesterday.
Yeah, they were here talking to me, trying to make sure I show up.
Yeah.
And then Roanoke, Virginia, they have a thing going on later on that I'm negotiating to go. But in between, I'm going to be doing Vietnam veteran reunion and stuff.
That's right. I'm
a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, but didn't you tell me, like, correct me if I'm wrong, my memory sometimes don't work, but don't you do like hospice care?
I do hospice visits for veterans, and then now we have a program where people that are on hospice that are veterans, we do programs presenting them with things, thank yous for being a veteran.
Oh, that is wonderful.
So,
first of all, I thank you for that. Thank you for that service that you do.
Oh, well, I love it. I love it as much as what I'm doing here. So,
So when you do that, are you doing it as Alan or are
Yes.
you doing Alan? You're doing it as yourself?
Alan the veteran, yes I am.
Yeah, okay. Well, that is wonderful. I'll tell you what. I got to say goodbye for you. For now, we got to hit the trail, cowboy.
Thank you,
And
you-
you are. It's always
You young
a pleasure.
whippersnapper, you're
Wow.
just slicker than a brook
Oh,
trout,
yeah.
by God.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Listen,
sir,
I'm not ashamed of this. I turn 81 next Tuesday.
Why?
So there
you're,
you go.
You're just, compared to 134, you're just a youngin'.
I'm a lot younger than you are.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir,
there you are.
But
and-
I look a lot like younger.
Yeah, you
I'm
do.
just well
you're handsome.
taken care of.
Yeah,
You're darn
it's such
tootin'
a
I am.
handsome critter. And anyway, from the peanut gallery, we got noise. And so anyway, thank you very much, Alan, for being here. I
Well,
appreciate
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and good luck up in Ohio when you go up there.
right.
Don't let those Yankee people mess
No,
with you.
sirree, Bob. They won't be messing with a tough hombre like me. No, sirree,
No way.
Bob.
All right, listen, we're going to see you down the trail. We are in Ardmore, Oklahoma at the Cowboy Way Jubilee.
Yes, sirree, Bob. You're darn tootin'.
Yeah. All right, and welcome to the Cowboy Jubilee Part 2 with Bob Terry.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I am so honored that you took the time to come speak to the little folks.
The little folks.
I'll tell you what, I want you to know I was walking over. I wanted to tell the public this story. We have some disturbance out here, folks. It's called
Don't worry, they'll
Dean
arrest him
Ready.
in a little bit.
All right. No, I want to tell the folks this story. I was walking my dog one day out in by the apartments where I live, and I get a phone call on my phone, and it's from Bob Terry. And Bob Terry says, I'm writing this script, and I have a part for you to play. Would you play a villain? And I said,
I try not to cast people too far from their own personality. So
I understand that. And so I said, well, I would love to do that if I can make Lee Van Cleef look like a wimp.
yes, yeah. You know, you actually watching you and the things you did. You actually reminded me a lot of one of the great character actors, and that's John Anderson. John Anderson was
wonderful
so
actor.
amazing.
Hey, that is a compliment.
Yeah, well, I thought, I want to capture a little bit of that, you
Yeah.
know, and get that little bit. I think that you could pull off some of his villain persona.
Yeah.
And I thought, you're one of the only people I ever cast and ask to be a specific part, like a villain.
Yeah.
Usually, if I'm interested in somebody being a part of something we're doing, I ask them, do you want to be a good guy or bad guy?
You asked me.
I asked you specifically to be one of the villains,
What
but
was my answer?
oh yeah, if I can make Lee Van Cleef look like a sissy, that was your answer. And so mostly I'll ask people if they want to be a good guy or a bad guy, and you know what they tell me? 90% of them say I want to be a bad guy.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Every once in a while somebody say no.
I have heard on interviews by other actors that said that the villain parts, the bad guys, are the most interesting characters.
Well, you have there's a lot more depth that you can do, I guess. You know, you end up with the hero or the main character or the lead can be a bit stoic,
Yeah.
which I like a stoic lead. You know, they call Gary Cooper stoic. They call Randolph Scott stoic. That's something that I guess because of what I've been through in life, I can kind of identify with, and they were always my heroes. So,
Yeah. Oh, well, but anyway, I want to finish telling this little piece about when we were on the telephone together, and you told me, and I want everybody to know this, and he will verify, I got the man to tell you. You said, well, Jim, we don't have a budget to pay you, but we feed good.
Oh, we feed good.
And I said, I work for food. And we did, and it was, let me just thank you right here publicly.
Oh, it was a fun day.
Yeah.
You know, Sundown comes out like somewhere between a 1959 Western and kind of like a stage play. We didn't put any budget in it, and it was just all kind of volunteer stuff.
Yeah, but
and it was fun.
It was fun. And all the people that worked on it were so wonderful. And I got to work with some of my favorite people, and Of course, now I'll back up a little bit on that. I had just met Tony Gill.
Me too.
I had just met
Me
him.
too. I spent about a year corresponding with him about this because he was back in England and stuff. But
well, let me tell you a little Tony Gill story. We were standing there at the bar rehearsing. You remember the bar scene?
Oh, when we were filming that day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were standing there, and he told me, he said, and he's here, so he can tell
Oh,
you.
yeah.
He said, I've never acted before.
Oh, no.
And so this is what he tells me. And I looked at him and I said, well, you can't tell it.
No.
You know,
I knew he'd never acted before, and he spent like almost a whole year rehearsing himself and getting into his character. And then Bob Fuller coached him and did his lines with him.
That's what I was going to tell you. So the whole thing, he kept saying, well, I've never. And I said, well, you're doing a fine job. I think you're doing great, you know. And he and I worked off of each other, I thought, quite well. And so then about a week later, he calls me from England.
Uh-huh.
He got my phone ring. I'm at work, I'm at my job, and I get a phone. It's him. And he's going, well, there's something I have to tell you. Bob Fuller coached me. and I said, well, you had a good coach.
You know, I learned something today. You know, behind the scenes stuff is very interesting to me. I love it, and I learned something today. You know, Benny, that was one of your outlaw compadres in that.
Yeah.
Benny was out with Bob and them just visiting and stuff one evening because Bob was in for Spirit of the Cowboy Festival.
Yeah.
And Bob knew Benny was going to be a part of it. And Benny told me today, he said, Bob found out I was going to be a part of it. And he said, we're sitting there visiting and stuff. And Bob says, well, how are you going to die? And Benny says, I don't know. I'm just going to, he says, well, you know, how are you going to die? And he said, without any warning, Bob draws on him and shoots him. And Benny apparently, you know, or something. He says, Bob's like, you got to die better than that. And he says, Bob, he says, at the moment when we're doing it, that something's going to happen, you know, and that's just the way we got to handle it. Yeah. You know, and I coached Benny a little bit from what I wanted from him. And, you know, my concern was the hard floor. You know, do we need to put anything down? And Benny's like, no. And Benny died real good. He died real good. So, yeah, that's one of the best parts of the
when
episode.
You rope with a rope or something, you pulled him up on the...
Oh, Wayne, one of your other outlaw buddies. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I loved doing that.
Yeah.
You know, me and Wayne, we actually went and filmed that. You know, we crammed so much in a day.
But we did.
Wayne's a friend of mine, and he lived close by, and I said, okay, you know, Wayne, I'm going to have to get you to come back. And you know, we got to do some fill-in parts here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you send him outside, you know, you go outside, and you stick close in earshot, and when he brings the horses, you come and get me.
Right.
And so, you know, my character knows he's close and he's going to hear you, so I've got to dispatch him in a way that he's not going to make any noise. So Wayne come out and we filmed that scene. It was just me and him one evening, and we filmed that scene. And it was so great because I'm up on the roof, and I've got that lariat. And I said, okay, Wayne, what I need you to do is walk to here and set the shotgun down and just kind of be waiting. And he did that, and he has this big hat on, great big hat, you know. And so I'm like, okay, we'll try this a few times, see how it works. First take, I throw that loop, it goes over his head, and
it was like a perfect take.
Yeah, it went right over,
God.
and
so do you do it several times?
Well,
to make sure.
You know, I was sure that worked perfect.
Yeah.
And it did. And so, you know, and then we, of course, you know, special effects. We did some things to make it look like, you know, I was pulling him up, you know, a little bit off the ground and cutting off his wind so he couldn't holler for you. And so but I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
No. I killed you, but I didn't kill Wayne.
Yeah, I died. But the thing about it is, we got to talk a little bit about this. Doing the making of that. He has this wonderful scene, which I have to backhand this lady by the name of Johnny Terry. And so I have to backhand her. Well, the the thing about it is, and we worked really hard on getting that perfect.
Yes.
And it looked real.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
It did. You know, it's all about camera angles and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like that far from her. You know.
I never touched her.
Yeah.
Right? And
but she had it down. There he is. There's the guy right there.
yeah, there he is.
There he is.
And but I'll tell you what. Do you have any questions for Mr. Terry?
Do what now? Oh, I'm tricky.
But that was Tony Gill, folks, and I know you could see
He's
him.
busy.
He's
He's
busy.
very busy.
busy. I'm telling you what. He works with Mr. Fuller,
Yes.
and Mr. Fuller keeps him. Did you see that team of people Fuller got in?
Oh
there?
my gosh, Bob's
Oh, my
popular, and there is no wonder.
Yeah, I never
There is no
realized how
wonder.
famous he was.
You know, Bob's just he's done so much. He's been around so long, done so many things, and people just love him. And it's understandable.
He's a very
he's
approachable
amazing.
type person.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the thing about it. Back to the business at hand, as my friend Merle Kilgore used to say.
Business is hand.
Back to the business at hand. The thing about it is the backhand.
Oh,
When I
yes.
went to slap her. And we got comments on Facebook galore.
I think your hate mailbox is full.
Oh, it was. I couldn't get work as an actor in Dallas.
Not as a good guy.
That is a good guy, no. And in fact, I did. Well, I'm getting into that later. But I had. But anyway, we did the wonderful scene. But anyway, people were writing and writing, and your lovely wife, I want to say, is the one person who came to my defense.
She did. She came to your rescue.
Yes, she did. She said, James would never do that.
No. And I'll tell you something. You know, my buddy Don Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh, loved him.
Man.
Loved
man,
him.
I'll miss him every day the rest
So,
of my
we all
life.
do.
But he was in that scene. He's Doc Brown, and he's sitting at that table. And he just knew what was going to go on, but I didn't direct him or coach him at all. He knew what was going to happen.
He just reacted to it.
And you slap JT in that, and old Doc Brown, he comes out of his chair, but you know it ain't going to do any good for him to raise a ruckus because y'all just shoot him if he did.
Yeah.
So he sits back down, but that's an actor. That's that's somebody that did it for a long time.
True professional.
Yeah.
And I got so tickled by talking about Don. I interviewed him last year, and we were talking about Robert Blake.
Oh yeah.
Because I had worked with Robert Blake.
Oh, had you?
Yeah, I did. Yes. And so Bob and I got along great. We had a fun time. And but anyway, we got to talking about it, and I said, well, folks, we're probably the only two guys that you'll meet who has actually worked with Robert Blake. And he said, oh, I never worked with Robert Blake.
He never worked with Bobby
Blake.
Blake.
He said.
He took over Blake's part in the Red Rider movies.
Yeah.
But no, he never worked
That's
with
what
Bobby
he told
Blake.
me. He said that on the air.
I think he had met him.
Yeah, he did.
And he also knew Tommy Cook.
Yeah.
There were 5 Little Beavers. There were Tommy Cook first, Robert Blake next, then Don, which was the last Little Beaver of the movies, and the only 4 ever done in color, the Red Riders. And then they did 2 pilots for TV, one in 50 and one in 56, and neither one of them made it. I think there's trouble between producers and stuff, just a lot of rules and regulations.
Copyright infringement, we hear about that?
Just Don told me some stuff about the owners of Red Rider and their demands and things, and I think they just might have had a little bit of hard time getting along with other people's demands.
Yeah.
And so then there was Louis Lettery and Sammy Trujillo.
Yeah.
And they were in the TV pilot. So there was 5 Little Beavers.
Yeah.
And,
but there was only 3 that made it, right?
Yeah, because the 2 TV pilots were never broadcast
That's what
to
I'm
the public.
talking about. They never.
But let me tell you about those TV pilots. They're rare. They never launched, and they're included in our Forsaken Western series.
They're in this?
They're not in season 1 on DVD, which is on here now. They are available online at westernschannel.com for our subscribers, but we hope to have those. One of those is in season 2. I think the next one's going to be in season 3. We hope to have season 2 out on DVD this is 2009 or 19, the summer. We hope to have them out summer of 2019.
Yeah. All right, I got a tricky question. This is what I call my trick question.
Trick question.
Do you have a favorite movie in this collection?
Oh boy. I have a few that I like above the others. The Randy Scott pilot that he did, I like that. I'm a Mark Stevens fan, and Mark Stevens is in a couple of these episodes. Great episodes. Those are actually anthology series episodes. You know, anthology series were big in the 50s. And, you know, one week it might be a detective show, next week it might be a romance, and then, of course, since it's the 50s television stuff, there's going to be Westerns every once in a while.
Yeah.
And some of those haven't aired in more than 65 years. And we've made sure about rights on these. Anything that we put in our series, we have the rights to do so. And Mark Stevens did a couple of great anthology series Western episodes. Of course, I'm a Crash Corrigan fan. He's in one, and it's color. And there's one with Chuck Connors. Chuck Connors, several years before Rifleman, and he plays a heavy. He's not
bad guy.
Yeah, he's not a good guy. He's a mean.
My God.
He's a mean one, just like you.
Just like me.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, I got one last thing to say about this. You know, I did a TV pilot here this year. I was in a TV pilot.
Somebody was mentioning that.
Yeah. I had, it was called Alien Experiences.
Yeah.
And I can't believe at my age that they would cast me as a grandfather.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they were
unbelievable.
Did you have to spend hours in makeup?
No, they said I didn't need any makeup on at all.
What do those guys know?
Anyway, we're getting a wrap-up thing here, partner. We got to see everybody down the trail.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank
you so much
for being there.
You
Real
bet.
quick, how can somebody get this?
Oh, they get it online. It's at wildwesttoys.com. It's on westernschannel.com. You can buy it online. Shipping and all is $30.95, I think.
Okay. All right, there you go. Mr. Bob Terry, my buddy, my director, my producer. There you go.
Thank you, James.
I appreciate you.
Till we meet again, good luck, God bless, and we'll see you at the Crossroads. Let's go, Dan.